Earlier today, I saw a meme about someone scared to sleep and they said they're scared of Frankenstein. The other person laughs and says they got it wrong. Frankenstein wasn't the creature, but the mad scientist. The horrified person says they know. Both have different views of who the scary monster was. The author of this story had deep insight and social commentary about what creates a monster. In this video, I'll break it down. I thought, what better moment for this video than now? I'm cautiously excited about the new Frankenstein movie. Perhaps I'll have a lot to say about that. But before watching the movie, let's discuss what we can learn from the philosophy in Frankenstein, and for that we need to go back to where it all began. The original Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. If you haven't read it yet, fair warning, spoilers ahead. But trust me, this is one of those stories where the why matters just as much as the what. And if you listen to this, you might enjoy reading the original novel with this perspective in mind. I never wanted to read it until I knew it wasn't just about monster sees, monster kills. It's philosophically vast to pick apart, as it's not about what people generally think it is. And let's be honest, if we hear, "Don't play God," one more time, our eyeballs might roll clean out of our heads. Yes, it's in there. Yes, Victor Frankenstein overreaches. But is that really why this story has everyone coming back and relating on such a deep level? No. It's not like people are out there trying to reanimate corpses. At least, I hope not. The real horror of Frankenstein is about a lack of love, understanding, and affection. Prolonged and repeated abandonment. The kind that slowly sinks into your bones and doesn't seem to go away once it's set. Because it didn't just come from one place. It came from everywhere that mattered a little bit too much. It also explores themes such as rage, pain, and misery, the tragic consequences of societal rejection, and of course, lack of responsibility, ethics, and morals. It's a deeply human story, and there's more to it than ambition and science gone wrong. It's more a metaphor for someone starting something and not caring for it. The pages are furthermore woven with loss, guilt, and the weight of neglect, not just in the obvious parental way. More than anything, it's about how monstrosity is not born, but made, and often made by a lack of love the general person gets to experience, and worsened by feelings of abandonment. The creature is never named. He asks for love, for belonging, teaches himself to read, helps a family in secret, tries over and over, but before he even has a chance, he's met with fear, disgust, violence. Strangers scream. They refuse to let him have their warmth. He's called monster, and eventually, he becomes one. But can you really blame him? And because of the nature of this channel, we'll talk later about what we can learn from this. How not to give up and become a menace. How to self-tame. Because some of us, we unfortunately understand the monster, me included. I felt my heart sinking deeper and deeper reading the creature confronting Victor. And often it's not just in obvious ways. And I know there's many of us who relate to the monster to various degrees. Sometimes we had loving parents, everything seemed perfect. But abandonment, it came from everywhere else. It could be we think we will never be truly loved, or from society, from strangers, from friends who were never really there for you when it mattered, and from that person who awakened something in you, only to give what you needed for so long to someone else. Affection you'd die for while your heart chips away on the sidelines. Longing becomes fire, love becomes gasoline, and ironically, receiving love burns. The aches twist tighter and tighter as everyone else always seemed to take precedence over you, over and over in all dynamics. It's not easily understood what that does to a person. And it's imperative, if you experience this, to not start abandoning yourself or what's important to you. Why I said that will make sense soon, but first, let's understand that. The creature starts with a gentle heart, learns by watching the DeLacy family, gathers firewood for them in secret, listens, dreams of being seen, discovers a book called Milton's Paradise, Lost, and thinks it's history. He sees himself in the outcast. And even though the monster is male, everything I'm talking about is applicable to any gender. Keep that in mind. The monster is driven away from joy for no crime of his own. This isn't savagery. This is someone who wants to be good, who reaches for the light, only to be burned every time. He even approaches a person who can't see, hoping that, if he can't be seen, maybe he'll finally be heard. And for a moment, he is. But then the rest of the group returns, and chase him away like everyone else. He tells Victor later, "I was benevolent and good, misery made me a fiend." That line, it's not monstrous. It's a broken heart that's tired and finally gave up. This story isn't just about rejection. It's about too many rejections. Repeated abandonment from all the places that should have been safe. It's the accumulation of loneliness, an absence of love that becomes an unyielding scream within. Many people are metaphorically mad scientists. They're reckless with others directly or subtly. They don't care who they hurt, or they're completely malicious. An example is when the creature begs Victor for a companion, not for revenge, not for power, just someone to be with. Someone like him, so they can disappear into the world and stop hurting. And Victor agrees, for a moment. But then, he destroys her. Rips the unfinished creature apart, right in front of him. Something deep broke in the creature. Hope died on that table, and something else took its place. What follows is a spiral. The creature becomes what the world always believed he was. He destroys people who were important to Victor. Then, his partner, on their wedding night. It's tragic and haunting. But let me be clear, I'm not condoning revenge. Pain does not justify destruction. Revenge will never fill the hole left by love. But we have to talk about it, because when no one shows up for you, the silence becomes unbearable. And what begins as grief can mutate into rage, unless someone interrupts the pattern. And if no one shows up, we have to become that person we always needed to interrupt it. Sometimes, one person can make all the difference. The right person, the one who knows how to see what others miss. If you've ever had that, cherish it. If you haven't, become it. We can't change who failed us, but we can tame our own monsters. We can walk out of our own isolation and be the one for those who yet don't know how, especially for those slowly fading in silence. And it's often the ones quiet and not making a scene. It's not the loud pain. It's the quiet pain. The ones you'd never guess are aching inside and don't have the energy to even look like they're doing good. No one talks about how much it hurts to hold yourself together. It's easy to give up. It hurts more to hang on and not give in. And things can go wrong in a person if they keep feeling the blows akin to the one the creature did. And if not careful, become self-sabotaging and destructive. Instead of everything else that could have been explored, we burn down what we hold dear, directly or indirectly. Like when Victor dies. The creature appears one last time, not to gloat, but to mourn. He lost the only connection he had left, even if it was born from hate. His revenge brought no peace, just deeper emptiness. And then, he disappears, into the darkness and distance. No easy answers, only a mirror. One that asks us, are you the irresponsible scientist who ran, or the creature left behind? And then become better accordingly. One of the biggest gifts we can give ourselves is a better future. To give yourself what you need, to remove the bitterness and work on ourselves, become someone who has what they want and can maintain it, who takes care of things in general, in spite of the journey you had up until there. So by now you can see the story Frankenstein isn't actually about a science experiment gone wrong. It's about what happens when there is constant lack of connection and care too many times. We even see it happen when someone is constantly taken for granted and something snaps in them. And if what we finally needed for years finally appears, we don't trust it anymore. Because we learned we need to become the person who catches ourselves while we're falling. When someone is made to feel they're not enough, it slowly cracks your ability to want to connect and trust, pulsing with fear that it gets ripped away again. And how sometimes this can turn a person stone cold. This story is still relevant because we still abandon. We abandon people. We abandon our authenticity. And it's time we start showing up for others and for yourself. Quick tangent. I'm not telling you to show up for someone treating you horribly, carelessly, or won't see your worth. Not sure why that's a thing. Yes, Victor was also suffering within, but suffering doesn't excuse bad values or ethics. It doesn't justify being treated like you're not worth it, or worse. Let's recap. Mary Shelley was not just writing a spooky story. She was wrestling with the ethical responsibility of caring for others, and the tragic consequences that follow when that responsibility is abandoned. She was also holding a mirror to how society treats the outsider, the misunderstood, the one who never gets chosen. It's about abandonment and the absence of love, not just in one dynamic. Frankenstein is a story about prejudice, about loneliness, abandonment, lack of love and affection, grief. You feel the pain echoing as you read. It asks what actually makes someone monstrous. Is it their nature or what society nurtures? These themes sit beneath every scene in the book, and they still matter because we still fail each other and ourselves in the same ways. Thank you for listening. Comment who you relate to, the scientist or the creature. Don't forget to subscribe if you're tired of surface-level explanations. This channel is about seeing the story behind the story. We unearth what others bury, and in a future video, we'll talk about what it means to feel like a monster and still find your way home. How to defy horrible circumstances trying to sculpt us into becoming a monster.